Hey there, moviegoers. How are you? It's Dimitri Panos here with another special episode, because they're all special here at KDM, which stands for Kit Dimitri Movies. And alongside me, or depending on how she's to my left. I don't know how your configuration is on the screen.
I think I think I always I do this, but because I see you this way,
To the right,
but I
yeah,
think
right, yeah. You are stage left to me, and that person stage left to me is the indomitable great Kit Bowen,
hello
back from her
everyone.
world tour.
Yeah, I wish.
So she is the
Speaking of world tours, Taylor Swift, I just don't understand it. Anyway, we'll get it. We didn't watch it, but
I look, if we're going to talk Taylor Swift for just 2 seconds, since you brought it up, I mean, not
right.
that the creator has anything to do with Taylor Swift, although it depends on what we're talking about creator. But look, I won't be invited to the premiere, I'm sure, and I can't use my AMC Premiere Plus to get tickets, meaning I have to pay. Oh, woe is me. But I'm not paying. That's just all there is to it. If I could, I actually wouldn't mind, but they don't allow it for the AMC premiere, and I'm assuming they're not going to allow it for Regal and all the other stuff. So woe is me, oh, the poor guy has to pay for a movie. Well, whatever.
Well, we actually are
So
we are paying. We're paying a monthly fee for our A-list AMC.
this
So
is true. You are
technically we
correct.
are paying for it. Yes.
Same as it ever was.
Yes.
So same as it ever was. So we are not here to talk about Taylor Swift today. We are here to talk about we are here to talk about Gareth Edwards' latest epic sci-fi movie, The Creator. So and as I always love to do is I always believe the chivalry and the person that I am, I always defer to ladies first. So I open the door to you. Please walk through. So I will walk in behind you. What did you think of The Create? What go he? What?
I think Taylor Swift, just FYI, I think Taylor Swift is actually AI. So
Oh, isn't that, don't let the Swifties hear that. They will come down. They will
no, it's a
come
good
down
thing.
harder than you, than a bunch of anvils from a 13th floor building. And
Anyway.
it'll be more than anvils. They'll throw a piano down. Do not.
I think that would be a cool movie, though, right? Like a Taylor Swift-esque person who everyone loves, and turns out to be that she's actually a robot. Anyway, so
a fembot.
A fembot. So yes,
so
Creator. We got a chance to see this together, so that was fun.
Yeah, it is.
Always,
it's always fun.
You and I both kind of had a similar reaction. I mean, while watching it, it was okay. It was enjoyable. It was visually amazing. I mean, cannot fault it for its visuals.
No.
The basic story is their AI has been created mostly as like an iRobot situation where the AI is to serve us, basically.
Right.
But there is a Terminator-esque type event that happens in the U.S. and a city is destroyed via nuclear deployment, nuclear weapons.
Right.
That the U.S. blames on the AI, and then so now it's like become a hunt for these leftover AIs who now all live in Asia, basically.
New Asia,
right?
Asia. Remember, this is in the not too distant future.
right. So John David Washington plays sort of an undercover. I guess he was at one point an undercover type operative who's kind of gone to the New Asia, but he has fallen in love with a woman there, and they are expecting a child, and there's this big huge raid that happens, and his wife supposedly is killed in this raid, and then
Joshua,
and then you jump forward a
Joshua's
few
stuff.
years, and John David Washington's character, whose name I don't know,
Joshua.
Joshua,
Yeah.
is still working for the government, and then he's sent back over there because he's the only one who has some sort of information about where this. I guess the AI has some kind of a deity that they call the
master.
no, what was it called?
Correct.
No, I thought it was some term.
Well, I will look it up, but I mean, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But
It was had some term that
oh,
they
it was the
called it.
creator. It's the creator.
Right.
It's the creator.
Is
What
that
am I
it?
saying?
Okay.
It's the
Anyway,
creator.
somebody who creates
But
the AI.
we have, but yeah, we have. The U.S. has deployed its own. The U.S. has deployed its own weapon, so to
Right.
speak.
Right.
And yeah.
Which
So
they call
and
I can't remember the name of that either.
Nomad. So remember, and I want you to remember. Forgive me for interrupting, but I want you to remember Nomad. I want you to remember that name, because when we talk, I'm going to refer to Star Trek a couple of times. One of those is going to be about Nomad and the creator. But go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, what ends up happening is there's some particular weapon that the U.S. wants to confiscate because of the AI, and they could use this weapon to take down Nomad. And the weapon turns out to be a child AI, little girl. And so John David Washington Joshua finds this little girl, and then they end up going on a quest together, or whatever, an escape together, because now he's convinced that his wife is actually still alive, and this child could lead him to her. And anyway, that he swifts, he changes alliances, and of course is pro AI. And of course, in the whole film, the AI is actually all they look human, except for they've got like this weird, they have the back of their heads not human.
Yes.
Why don't they just have skin over the back of their head? I don't understand why they have.
The technology hasn't gone that far yet, I guess.
But they have a face.
Yes, eyes without a face, but their face without a back of the head. Yes.
They're good, and they're being persecuted. Blah blah blah. Okay, so like I said, I thought it was visually stunning, but the story itself was very derivative. I didn't find it all that compelling. I didn't really care all that much about what happened in a way. I felt like, it was a paint by numbers type thing, where they were just taking from Terminator, from iRobot, from AI, from all of these different movies, and sort of putting it all together again, but without any sort of originality to it, except for maybe the locale, and and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it was beauty without substance, basically, in my opinion. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think for me, it lacked a soul. It was, to me, it was as if the movie were written by an AI chatbot GBT. It really it tried to take the best of science fiction AI stories within the past, I don't know, 50 years or so, and it wrote this. So, it's a sci-fi movie, and it tries to incorporate some of the best themes of past really good science fiction movies about artificial intelligence. But at the end of the day, it never really reinvents the wheel, and it just maybe polishes the hubcaps, only because of the movie, how it looks. You're right. The locales were beautiful in this movie, and Gareth Edwards knows how to direct the set piece, and he makes everything look so good. He and company try to distract you from the fact that you've kind of already seen this all before. And you have seen it before, and you've seen it done better. And you know, there were a couple of things in this movie that kind of stymied me, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's like, so I get it. The AI are blamed for, they literally nuke Los Angeles. They nuke Los Angeles, like you said, vis-a-vis the Terminator. And the US says, we are banning AI. We are banning AI. Could you imagine if they banned AI here? That might have helped a lot in the Writers Guild strike. But anyways, so they ban AI, but they don't ban it in the rest of the, like, it's not banned in the rest of the world. So New Asia says, hey, we're going to continue on creating AI and researching AI, and we're going to continue doing this. And this really pisses the US off, and the US just says, okay, well, we're making this nomad, we're going to blow the shit out of you. And I said, like, how is this even like possible? It's like, wait, NATO doesn't exist, I guess, in the future, because like, how do you say a war against another entity, another region of the world or a country? All right, they want to do it, fine, you let them do. I mean, how it, number one, that was my first like, what's going on here? Like, how is this okay? All right, so then we get into the you know, the whole Joshua thing. He's an undercover agent when we first meet him. He has a relationship with Maya, played by the very beautiful Gemma Chan. A raid on their territory goes sideways. She's thought dead. He goes back to civilian life, even though he's working for the government. He's no longer a soldier. He's a civilian.
Right.
And he's given a really kind of a no choice type of scenario. It's like, hey, the military wants you to continue to serve. We found, all right, so we have this nomad that works really good, but we found out that these AIs, like you said, they've created this weapon that can take down nomad, and we can't lose the, you know, effectively like ending the war, but not on our side. So you have, you know where this thing is. Oh, and by the ways, we have intel that your wife thought dead, she's actually alive. Okay, so that gets him back into the game. And, you know, but it's really interesting, Kit, because it's like you said, we've seen this all before. And I remember the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was just like ticking off. I said, okay, Kit, I go, all right, now we got Blade Runner. Terminator 2 is right there. AI, iRobot, Star Trek, Tron, Ex Machina, even Tomorrowland. And there was a little bit of salt and peppering just for good seasoning measure of, like, say, Children of Men.
Yes.
And this is like right off the first 10 minutes. And you watch this movie, and I'm thinking of these other movies, and I'm like, they're so better.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, this is just a rehash. Something, and something else that's kind of galled me. I'm gonna just throw this gauntlet down right now. It raises suspicions, and I'm sure you saw the same thing. I'm sure you've read the same things that I've read. They've used review quotes. They've done these pull quotes where people have actually said, the most original movie I've seen. And I'm like, have you never gone to a movie? How? Like, have you not seen any of the movies I just mentioned? Like, because I'm like, how is this? Like, you could say the most stunning visual effects of the year. Okay, I may not agree with that, but I get it.
Yeah.
To say it's the most original movie? In what alternate future? So, and you know, it was, look, the movie was shot in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Nepal, Japan, Indonesia. They filmed in the UK using Pinewood Studios and Los Angeles. So there were times, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I actually thought of movies like it. There were times where Gareth Edwards made it look like a little Apocalypse Now, a little bit Platoon, because we were in like these areas, and and again, I'm watching this, and I know there's one you're not going to agree with me with. We've talked about it. We'll discuss here. I enjoy the performances for the most part. Nobody, to me, anyways, phoned it in. I know you're not the biggest John David Washington fan. I like the guy. But Madeline Una Voiles, she plays the AI child Alfie at the ripe age of 7. I got to be honest, she carries a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
Would you agree, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I don't really think she had, I mean, she's effective as this child, that's supposed to save the world, but at the same time, she's mostly all reactionary, she's mostly just her face, reacting to her. She doesn't really talk a whole lot. And yes, I find that was, like I said, she did a very good job in playing this. I'm sure she had to walk around with probably in a green hoodie kind of thing, so they could, so they could put in the AI after that. Yeah, I mean, but John David Washington, it's not that I don't know what it is, but it's like he's my least favorite in movies that are really good. So, like Black Klansman, I really loved Adam Driver in that. Although
I won't take you away from that. Fantastic.
Tenet, oh God, I liked Robert Pattinson in Tenet, but that was
Tenet is just Tenet,
and this is just he just doesn't. First of all, he doesn't really connect with the little girl, in my opinion. I did not find the connection between the two of them. He had more connection. He had more connection with Gemma Chan. I will give him that. She was very good. But yeah, I felt most of the performances were kind of just cartoonish in a way. Even down to Allison Janney playing, the Janie playing this sort of badass
Colonel. She was the villain. She's the military Colonel Jean Howell.
Yeah,
I thought she was a good villain.
Yeah.
But
none of the performances made it stand out to me at all. And I just felt like they kind of delved into, they kind of just melded into this sort of, kind of boring story, in my opinion. And then all I had really were the visuals.
Sure. I mean, I don't disagree with what you said, but the way I see it is the performances didn't take the movie down.
No.
And I thought the performances were fine, all things considered, and that we're in a movie that basically we have seen as science fiction fans, as AI fans alike, because and you're right about Gemma Chan as Maya. Look, to me, she made that character worth looking for, worth being someone to go, she's alive. Okay, I'm going to go after her. I'm going to look for her. Yes. So, she made the character worth caring enough for that you understand Joshua's. It's like, and he made that more or less his priority, on his on his quest, right?
Right.
And again, we talk about, like, again, I don't have a problem with Gareth Edwards' direction. I think he's a solid director, and the exotic locations were great. The movie looked fantastic, and if you're going to see it, I think it is very PLF or premium large format screen worthy. If you were to see this in Dolby or in IMAX or in XD, whatever it may be, Gareth Edwards works with an $80 million budget, and he makes the movie look 150.
Yes.
He makes it look twice that for the budget that he has. So I give him credit for that, but they're all stunted by this rudimentary sci-fi. And I say the word sci-fi versus science fiction. It was the great author one of the godfathers of science fiction, Harlan Ellison, who, as a definition to the difference between sci-fi and science fiction, are those stories that are of true human condition. For it to be science fiction, there has to be a human condition story.
Right.
That's the relevancy of it all. And I agree with that. He goes, everything else is sci-fi. Like, and I get it.
It's a good point.
So there wasn't really, I couldn't figure out necessarily what the human condition of this movie was. And there was something that, once I say this, you might just go, oh, there's another word that was not uttered at all in this movie, like at all. And that word, it's an important word when it comes to these types of movies, for me anyways. And that movie is Sentient. That movie is becoming aware.
Right.
And in this movie, in the creator, the AI were constantly referred to as parts, like put together, blah, blah, blah. But I never got the sense that they were aware. And to me, that's what really kept a lot of the movie from becoming good science fiction. They were described as programming and parts, and it just made me think of all those other movies where and I throw Star Trek in there, where things became aware. And again, Terminator, it's a big deal because the AI does become aware and says, puny little humans, goodbye, and decides to eradicate us. Blade Runner, the replicants, they're aware, and they're looking for more life. And, you know, they go to seek their creator.
Yes.
And it's Rick Deckard, who has no emotions because of the job that he has. He has to go out, hunt, and kill people that are so human.
Right.
That he has a hard time distinguishing. In fact, he ends up falling in love with one. So that in Blade Runner 2049, I mean, I don't know how more sentient you can get when a replicant gives the greatest gift that a person can give, which is life.
Right.
Sentience is never a factor in this movie. And it's never said if they've become aware. We see them laugh and smile and do that. But then that reminded me of another fantastic android that you and I love, and many others, from Star Trek The Next Generation, Data.
Yes.
Data is the perfect example of AI and an android. And what is Data's quest for all 7 seasons of Star Trek, through the movies, and even Star Trek Picard? It is to be human. It is to be able to feel like a human, what it is to be human.
Right.
And that as an like, we gravitate towards Data because towards humanity, he kind of has like this childlike innocence, like he doesn't know.
Right.
He can't use contractions. He doesn't know what humor is.
Right.
But through the series, he develops, he understands, right? So you care for Data.
Yes.
So
I would say he is one of the classic examples of AI for sure.
100%. 100%. But he becomes, like, especially more or less in Picard season 3, it could be argued that Data is aware.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right?
But I want to throw in.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in
please.
Because before Data, and this is one of my favorite. Like I've done listicles of when AI goes bad kind of thing. Like they never learn, right? They never learn.
No, we never learn.
No, we never learn. Is Ash an Alien?
Oh, Ash and Alien's perfect.
But here's a movie where, you know, we're watching this horrifying thing happening, right? This horrifying monster is after this crew, and you get to a point where it seems like Ash is somehow, you know, helping it, right? He's been ordered to do so. And then he goes,
Yeah, that's it.
then he goes after Ripley and nearly kills her. And you know, I've forgotten Yaphet Kotto's character's name, but he comes and he, you know, hits
Right.
Ash with a bat.
It's
And suddenly,
it's one of the big reveals of
yeah.
Alien, that scene, because
And
we
then you're
don't
like,
know.
you know, what?
Yeah.
So it was so fantastic, so
Parker.
fantastic. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, that to me was just an amazing moment in a film, you know, where in a horror film that just kind of heightened it. Just took it
It's
from
a
here
shocker.
to right up here. You're like, oh crap, oh
No
my God.
kidding. Yeah.
Ew, and it was so gross. And you're like, ugh. Anyway, so then, you know, pretty soon after that, Data came along. So you know, well, of course we also had Star Wars too, where you had, you
You
know,
had
the
R2D2 and
C3POs and
C3PO.
RT, yeah. So you had
But I
them
would argue
beloved.
they're
They were
droids, but they're not sentient. They're not
right,
really aware. They can be turned on, shut off. They
right,
build memory. They
right,
create memory. They can be wiped, though.
right.
You know, Ash, I love your example of Ash, because that is one of the greatest all-time twists
Yeah.
of a movie, a science fiction movie. Oh, and don't forget about Mother. Don't forget about Mother on the ship too.
Right.
But Ash is great
Well,
because
Mother's the computer system, you know.
right.
Mother's like Hal. Again, there's
Sure.
Hal too, of course.
Right.
I forgot
It is
about
Hal.
Hal.
Right.
Forgot about Hal. He was actually the first. Sorry,
So
sorry, Stanley Kubrick.
but, you know, but don't forget about Metropolis. Forget about movies like Metropolis, where again there are shades of where Terminator gets all its stuff from. But Ash is great because for me, Alien is a great science fiction movie, but I also categorize it as tech noir. I believe Alien to be an excellent film noir movie, with Ash being part of the corporate corruption.
Yes.
Which is basically what he represents, and he's ordered. So it wasn't on his own.
No.
So and then you have Lance Henrik Bishop.
Yes.
Later, you have Bishop in Aliens.
Who redeems it, yeah.
Right. But again, he goes by my programming states. Like he's not aware, he's programmed, and this is what I have to do. Movies like Blade Runner, they go above and beyond their programming. I mean, they become sentient to it. Now they're given memories. I get it. They have their memories, but yet they become aware that they realize what life is.
Right.
And to seek a creator and basically killing their god, and they have emotion when one of their own dies. You know, that to me is very special. But this movie didn't play that card at all.
No.
And I thought it was a huge missed opportunity for this movie to take it to a level. And then it further just angered me when I hear people saying this is the most original movie they've seen. And I'm like, what? And you just got pull quoted.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, Disney. Like, what's going on here? So I don't know. It conflates AI and sentience and chat GPT. Okay, and I use this thing too. Like, so chat GPT is an AI. But does it feel? Is it aware? And the simple answer is, and this is in our own real time today. And the answer is right now, currently, thankfully, no.
Right.
It does not. It just does what it's asked of to put together. That's where I think this movie, the creator, fails.
Yeah.
Big time. And the trailers made it look like the trailers did exactly what it was supposed to do. Make the movie look epic and big and like really good. So yeah, I am in complete agreement with you.
Yeah.
And this movie could have been done better.
Yeah, it could have. Even and we did mention AI too, which is, we've talked about this film a couple of times now, but it certainly fits in with this, is the, sure. Pinocchio story. But he too was trying to find, a way to be human kind of thing. And, it was a quest movie. And while it wasn't necessarily, the greatest, it was certainly emotionally really, really gets you, and that
emotionally it's better.
that's what fails in this one too, because you're supposed to feel emotions for this little girl. You're supposed to, you know, feel for Joshua and his plight and whatnot, and you just
mhm.
don't. You just don't. It's just
Yeah, it's
I did.
tough.
I mean, I
The,
didn't.
and the ending is kind of,
Yeah.
I didn't get what was going on at the ending of the
Well,
creator. But whatever. It is what it is.
yeah. So I would
it
I would
again.
only give this. I'll give it again. I'm a half person. I'll give it 2.5 stars. The half
Fair,
star for its visuals, but
fair. Well,
two and a
before
half
I
for
go
me.
into my rating, there is one other Star Trek episode. There is one other Star Trek reference that
Right.
I have to talk about. It's from the original series, the original Star Trek series. And if memory serves, the name of the episode is called The Changeling. And that is when the crew of the USS Enterprise come across a a satellite sphere or a robot, an android that was sent to explore strange new worlds like way back when,
Hmm. Hmm.
and come back to Earth with all of its data. And apparently it got hit by an asteroid or something. And it's on its way back to Earth to find its creator. It's
Right.
to find its creator. And it could, you know, it was actually doing it in a way because it forgot,
Yeah.
and so it was killing people on board because they were carbon units that it needed to go find its creator to transmit its data. And what was the name of that robot? What was the name of that robot or android? It was Nomad. It was Nomad. And so I was like going, I wonder if that was done on purpose. I wonder if there were Star Trek fans while they were writing it. But that episode, it's Nomad going to Earth to find its creator. And I found that kind of fascinating. And now,
Yeah.
because I know you're all in great anticipation, you can stop holding your breath. I give the creator, I give it 3. It's okay. It looks good. But its story really it's just such it's a letdown.
Yeah.
And I will say, Kit, I will give you credit because I remember we came out of the movie and I'm processing. And I was yeah, look good. It was this, it was that. And we started talking, and you were the one too. You said, yeah, it seems like we've seen this before. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, we kind of have. And we are talking more. And you said, yeah, it just seems derivative. I'm like, yeah. And I took all that with me on my ride home to start concocting like how am I going to go about my review? So it was because of our conversation.
It's always the best.
It's always the best. And it's always great to have that conversation
Yeah.
too. It really did help me formulate what I wanted to write about and how to incorporate it into a review, and
Right.
how to also give people like an example of better science fiction
Yes.
and movies about the human condition. So there
Yes.
you go.
Yeah. With artificial intelligence. Now,
With
look,
artificial intelligence.
again, we always have, I mean, I've said this many, many, many times to people who come up and ask me because, they think I'm an expert about a movie or whatever. And true, I've done this for a long time, and I do have some insights and things that I might, bring to the table here as a
Some
professional
I even
movie
listen
reviewer.
to.
Yes. But ultimately, it is still just my opinion about something. And everyone can have different reactions to movies, can have different opinions, and every opinion is valid. So that's
Except
why.
the stupid ones.
Well, I'm just
Except somebody
saying.
who says this is the most original movie
So back in the
ever.
day, I'm maybe even still to this day, people who do enjoy reading movie reviews,
Sure.
they will find a reviewer who is simpatico with their likes and dislikes. You know what I mean? It's like someone who wants to read Peter Bart, or who's the guy, Kevin, from the LA Times. What's his name? Kevin. Oh shoot, what's his name?
Kenneth Turan, are
Yeah,
you talking about?
Kenneth. Sorry,
Kenneth Turan?
Kenneth Turan. I mean,
Sure.
these are people that it's like my mom's kind of like that. She likes to read reviews and whatnot. But so
Sure.
she will find you find a movie reviewer who feels the same way you do about movies in a lot of respects. May not always agree with them, but
you do. But I'm gonna kind of flip that around a little bit, because when I grew up, for me, I had Jay Carr of the Boston Globe, James Vermeer of the Boston Herald, another gentleman by the name of Nat Sagaloff, and I also you're in the same thing. Grew up late 70s on PBS. There was Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert.
And I always read reviews to see an opinion. And I always I agreed with them, or I didn't agree with them, or that was very well thought out. And I think Siskel and Ebert's like a great example, because I like the both of them. Okay. Yes. And there are weeks that I would agree with Gene Siskel. There are other weeks where I would agree with Roger Ebert. It didn't make me like them. Even if I didn't agree, I could say, I didn't agree. But first and foremost, what they did, and a lot of other movie critics did that I read, who reads reviews today, but it was a teaching tool to me too, because I would take what that reviewer, that critic, looked at and how they may have seen something, or their perspective of something. And that to me was very important. And that made them, in their film history, made them far better than myself. Yes. I was just a kid. And, I have to say, this whole thing, like, we review movies. That's what we do. We have to have a modicum of, like, nobody ever says that of a restaurant reviewer. Nobody ever says that, but seriously, nobody ever says that of a music reviewer or a record reviewer or an art reviewer. Look, I know nothing of art. So I really, I could look at something and say, ugh, that's ugly, right? But if I learned why those brushstrokes and patterns are important, and then I'd go, oh, okay, so having some knowledge is not a bad thing.
Right.
I think what happens is, and again, when you say the creator is the most original movie, that's a problem. No, I mean, seriously, for me, that's a problem. Yeah. Because this person got pull quoted, and to me, it's an ignorant comment. Like, I do not know. And just because it's this person's opinion, they have a right to their opinion. But and I had a conversation. I'm so glad you brought this up. It's so important. We could do a whole podcast on this.
Yeah, I know we could. And
I had a whole conversation with someone who was kind enough to respond in my comments for my creator review on the Cinescope. And he or she had said something to the effect of, they found it to be very original in this. And I said, fair enough. Number one, I thank you. I thank people for writing. I mean, if you're going to take the time to not only watch the review, you write, okay. And then I said, do yourself a favor. No, and I tried not to be. Seriously, I know I come off as sarcastic. That's New England in me. I get it. And many times it gets me in trouble. But I did try to be as nice and open-minded to this person as possible. And I said, that's well and good. I don't agree. And, do yourself like some good if you really love movies, and try to broaden your scope as far as science fiction movies go, and try to watch these movies and such. And we can have that conversation, but we can't, we shouldn't downplay our roles of critics, because, like I said, I'm not an art critic because that's not what I went to school for. I don't have art history in my background.
Right.
Music I can talk about because I did study music. I worked at a radio station. Music was a passion of mine, almost as equal as movies. Scripts.
But that's also subjective too. I mean,
everything is subjective, but you need to have, what I think the difference is
a frame of reference.
To have a frame, but a solid frame of reference, and you have to know you should know how to write. And it shouldn't have to be, limited to 120 characters.
Right.
And hyperbole is great, but it can't be overused. I try not to overuse hyperbole. And again, if anything, with you and I have great conversations of movies, especially Disney movies, because we grew up with that, right?
Yeah.
And when you say something, I'll listen, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we disagree, but what does matter is I could walk away not hating you or being angry with you and yelling at you, but I might look at another perspective. And this is what I think the role of a movie reviewer, or that word critic, is about, is to give you an educated perspective on this movie. You can disagree with what I say. That's fine. I don't care. Be respectful. I always like, we didn't have the opportunity to interact with Siskel and Ebert or Jay Carr or James Veneer or Peter Keogh. But, it didn't keep me from watching them every week. And go, oh, you know what? This week I agree with, I agree with Gene this week, or I agree with Roger. And so they hated a Friday the 13th movie. Shocker. I had a great time at it. And I understand why they hate it. So it's a great topic of discussion. Maybe we should do a very special episode.
We should.
Yeah.
We might do another special episode. But
so
thank you.
In any case, we should wrap up because I know it's about 40 minutes. And Kit, this was I love discussing movies like this with you.
Me too.
It's great. I hope the audience can see the dynamic and see what you bring to this, because you help make me a better reviewer.
Me too.
So, and I hope the audience enjoys what we put together for them. And please comment, because both Kit and I will write back.
Absolutely.
And again, I will say, until our next, we'll be back with another movie. We will see you at the movies. Enjoy. Next week is, okay, Taylor Swifties, go have fun next week.
Yay!
So we know one person who's going to be there, probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't we?
Yes.
Don't we know at least one person?
Yes, that's true.
I think he's got his weekend planned out. I'm not going to out him here, but
yes. Okay.
All right. Thanks all. Bye, Kid. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching,
soon.
folks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yep.